Hello everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so excited to be making some fall cards with you. If you didn't know this, I am like the poster lady for fall. I love boots and sweaters, and I don't even like pumpkin spice coffee, but the fact that it's pumpkin and it's in the fall, I'm a fan. So I am very excited to be sharing with you Simon Hurley's release that just came out. I have the 4 stamp sets here. I'm going to show you. I put the label on the screen for you, and then I'm going to talk about what's really cool about this line. Now, one of the things that I could say I don't have a lot of is the double layered stamping, but this isn't even like double and triple layered. It's just sort of fill-in stamping. So I'm going through showing you, now this is the background stamp that you can actually pull those pieces apart if you want, which makes this set very, very versatile, or that background stamp. I thought that was way cool. And then this is the 3 of the stamp sets I'm showing you. They have this second piece where you can layer it onto the outline and you could stamp it in solid color. So a very similar concept to multi-layered stamping. I just think it's really fun because if you are not in the mood to color with markers, this is a very nice quick tip, nice hack, if you will, built into the stamp set. So this is the last stamp set. I think this might be my favorite because it's all things fall, and I just had so much fun coloring up those images. So that's what's great too. You can stamp the full image, color that, or you can use some of those images with the solid layer and just use that a different, like a solid color of ink, and fill that in. But these are the ones that I stamped out and colored myself. So I do show you on the screen which markers I used. I have to say I have the 216 set of Ohuhu, and I think the 200 set of the, I have the 216 set of the Ohuhu brush, and I have a large set of the Ohuhu bullet. I think the bullet might be my favorite, especially when you're coloring smaller images. I don't know, I'm more comfortable with them, but they are both fantastic markers, and I have whole reviews on those if you want to check those out. Here is what this looks like when you stamp the solid image in the outline. I just wanted to show you that really quickly, but we're going to go on screen here in a minute, and I'm going to fill in those 2 birds in a very fun way. So if you love rainbows, keep watching. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take the solid image piece and you're going to line it up right on top. Now I have to tell you, I've played with a few double layered, triple layered stamps, and sometimes I get them off centered, but this was really, really easy to line up. As long as your top and bottom are are filling in the outline, you are good to go. So it was very simple to do. I'm going to take my little finger ink blending brushes, the little finger dauber ones. These are not foam, these are actual brush with bristles. So I highly recommend those. They are fantastic. And so I'll link them below if you wanted to check out the set. Very inexpensive too. So I'm going to take just these 3 primary colors. I put them on the screen, and I'm going to go back and forth and sort of get blending between the colors, because you only need the primary colors to get pretty much the whole rainbow. So I'm just going to go back and forth, up and down, and kind of pounce it on there so I can get some really nice blending. Now you don't want to swoosh, you want to kind of pounce. All right, so I'm pouncing my oxide inks on there. I could have done this with dye inks. I'm sure that would have been wonderful. Pigment inks, that would have been great. I just opted for my oxide. I think they were in closest range. So I'm going to do it again. We're going to go second time around, and I'm going to just go back and do the exact same thing over that. And look at how fun this is. So I have no idea if a bird like this exists, but it doesn't matter because we are being creative, and that is what this is all about. So I'm going to stamp it twice, all right, so just to get some really solid, fun colors. Now I'm not going to show you the second bird, but I did it in the exact same way, but going in the opposite direction. So the blue is going to be more at the top of the head than this one. So there it is, all colored in. How sweet is that? Okay, now I'm going to finish off this card with some of my Ohuhu bullet tip markers. This is just super simple, 2 colors in each, just the brown and green. I did a little orange on their beaks and their feet, and that's it. If you are a fan of the Ohuhu markers and you have some trouble with your blending combinations, I have charts on my Etsy shop, so you can check that out. It has been really helpful for me when I go to color. I just look at the chart, I pull out the markers that I need, because the caps don't really match the inks, and so that makes it a little bit difficult to do to color with. So that's why I created those charts. If you want to check those out, they are below in the description box under my Etsy shop, so you can check them out over there. And there is the finished color. Now I did fussy cut this, which I did not do on camera because I spared you 2 hours of time. I'm kidding, it didn't take 2 hours. It felt like it though. It was a bit intricate to die cut. So I'm gonna move on to my background stamp. If you're using your Misty, make sure you take out the foam piece. So I'm gonna pull that out because I am using a rubber stamp, so I don't need that foam piece in there. Now I'm gonna I kept this in the video because I'm gonna walk you through what this could look like when you try to heat emboss with sticky ink that is no more. I had no idea until I tried to do this, but this is a pitiful attempt. I'm going to keep it in here for you to see. But I did use my anti-static powder tool all over my white cardstock. Then I'm going to go in with my gold embossing powder. Do you know I actually thought there might have been something wrong with my embossing powder at first? I don't know why, I just didn't automatically know my ink pad was almost out of embossing ink. But anyway, I'm going to heat set this just for fun. Now look at the difference. The one on the left is juicy, the one on the right is dry. So yeah, after 2 straight years of using, you got to replace them or re-ink them. I did not have a re-inker on hand, but I did have a spare one. So I just pulled that out, and you're going to see the huge difference that this makes in trying to get this. Now, I still think there's gaps in here. And I don't know at this point, because it's the first time I'm using this stamp, if this is stamp related or if it's my embossing technique related. So I'm going to stamp this out for you in black now, in pigment black ink, just so that I can get a really good solid image for you so you can see what it looks like. I didn't want to just let the embossing be the only thing I did. So I'm going to stamp it twice. Right here you can see me going back to stamp it. And the way that this stamp is designed, it is designed not for all those lines to be solid. There's grains in it, almost like speckles throughout some of it. So I'm going to show you that up close, but I didn't know that when I was doing. See, some of them have lines, some of them have dots, and so it's really, really cool, and it gives you a wide variety of interest for the stamp. So I thought that was kind of cool. Okay, let's start making cards here. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to keep that for another card that I'm going to show you. But the first thing I'm going to do is die cut this heart with the stackable dies right there. And then I'm going to start putting my card together. I chose this sentiment right here. I'll always be here for you. I thought that was super sweet. And I'm just going to start putting the rest of the card front together, because this is the actual card panel that I just stamped on. Now, in order to do this, I want to pop up my whole image, but I'm going to put my glue on the birds first and on the heart first. Then I'm going to turn the whole thing over, and that's what we're going to pop up. So this Barely Art glue is my absolute go-to. I think I use it more than anything, and I also think it lasts so long because of that very fine nozzle. Huge fan of this glue, and I've done a glue review, massive glue review on my channel. And I didn't have this glue yet. So yes, it's amazing. Okay, let's pop this up with some foam adhesive here. I'm using the 2-inch foam adhesive from scrapbook.com. Whatever you have on stash is great. And I am going to make this whole panel pop up. Good thing you don't see behind these images, because that looks like a hot mess. But who cares, right? No one's going to see it. I'm going to pop this right up in the center. All right, there we go. Now, what we're going to do to finish off this card is my latest favorite technique, and that is to take my pops of color. This one's I'm using the champagne color, and I'm just very, very lightly dotting tiny dots all over this card panel. I'm not doing big, chunky enamel dots of 3. I'm just going all over as if it's confetti. And I have to tell you, this is my favorite technique because it comes out so perfectly, like little dots. You can also use a stylus tool, that helps as well, to get really good dots, but I just love how whimsical that is. It's so fun. Here's some close-ups so you can get a good look at the finished card right here. This was a lot of fun to do, and again, I didn't feel like coloring up those little birds, and the internal stamp for them is so much fun. You can do that easily and quicker if you just used one color. Did one color with a little bit of shading, that would be fun. So sky's the limit, really fun technique. Let's use that background that I just cut the heart from, and I cut it down to an A2 size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I'm going to get my placement right on my card panel. So the white underneath is the actual card panel, the card base. I think I said panel before. I meant base, like the actual open, flip open card. That's called the base, excuse me. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment right there on the front of that. Now I did use the VersaFine Clair in the Fallen Leaves color. That is a pigment ink. I recommend pigment inks for sentiments. They always come out super crisp. I'm taking some 1/8 score tape here, and I am just going around because I'm going to make a shaker card. I have not made a shaker card in, I seriously cannot tell you how long. I don't even remember the last time I made one. So this was a lot of fun to get back in there and shake it up. So I'm going to pull that off, and then I'm going to add some acetate to the card behind the heart, and that's going to keep all my shaker bits in. If you're new to shaker cards, this is a very simple technique here as far as the way I'm making it. So just go with this one. If you're using square or rectangle shapes, that makes it even easier because you don't have to manipulate around the heart. But I don't even really manipulate around it too much. Watch what I'm doing here, because the next step is your adhesive foam. So I'm going to cover that. The idea here is you want to make sure that the foam touches the edges. You don't want any of those shaker bits to be able to fly out. That's really your only concern. So just, do the best you can. Now, I am putting more underneath the heart so that it kind of stays confined within that heart, if that makes sense. Now, I cannot remember where I got these sequins, so please forgive me for that. But they have little tiny leaves, and they have fall colored sequins in there, and they are the cutest. Here's a tip. Take an anti-static powder tool and rub along the sticky parts so that your sequins don't stick, but also do it on the acetate a little bit, because I noticed once I was finished with the card, the little leaves were sticking to the acetate. It's fine. I shook them around quite a bit and able to get them loose, but that's just another tip. But here you can see I'm shaking it up. Oh, this was so fun to make. So you want to, I'm trying to move them from the sentiment. Okay, I got them kind of moved around. And now this is the image I decided to finish off the card with. And I'm going to put that right there at the bottom. And he is just super cute. And I have to say, when you see the close-ups, I was very proud of the way I did his eyes. I'm working on it. I'm working on my blending, working on my color choices. I thought it was just so fun. And these are the results you get with the less expensive alcohol markers. I didn't need to use Copics. I used Ohuhu Bullet Nip, and they're just my favorite. I just love them. So here we go. Let me show you some close-ups of this one so you can have a look for yourself. And I love the background. I love the shaker piece of it. It's just a fun card. So this one brought me a lot of joy when I was making it, getting back into shaker business. Okay, my final card I have to share with you is non-traditional but still fall themed. So I went with this colored background. Now this rainbow background was made in another video when I was showcasing the Tim Holtz watercolor pencils. I promised you I was going to use that background, and here it is. I just cut it down to a slimline size. I think this is I think it's 3 by 8. And so I have all that stamped out in my black ink. And now I colored up these images in non-traditional fall colors, because that's what I have a lot in my house. Now I want to draw attention to here. See that little white dot that I forgot to cut out right there around the vine? Adia, my 13-year-old, came in and she quickly pointed it out and said, "You made a mistake there." And I said, "You're in fact right, I did." And so I pulled out a little bit, I pulled out one of the purple watercolor pencils, and I just touched it up very lightly, and so in the still photos you will not even notice it because I was able to fix it. All right, here are my 3 cards with the Simon Hurley release. I had so much fun playing with them. I hope you'll check out the release. I'll link it below. And I hope you will check out all the links for other forums where we can connect, as well as joining my mailing list. I send out free printable downloads, and I love to have another way to connect with you to share updates and sales and all the goodness. All that will be linked below. Thank you again for joining me. I will see you in the comments down below and in the next video. Bye-bye.